Welcome back to LarryB YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make these beautiful ruffles that we see here. It's a very simple tutorial and it's really beautiful. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. Okay, so to make this, I'm working with this organza fabric and it's about 1.5 yard, thereabout. It's 60 inches. The length, the yard that I'm working with is around 60 inches, so it's not up to 2 yards, so it's just a little above 1.5. So assuming this is your fabric, okay, what I'm going to do is to fold it into 4. I'll first fold into 2 like this, then after folding into 2, I'm going to fold again into 4, which is what I have here. It's because it's big, that's why I just decided to show us with that. So after that, I'm going to try to locate the center point. So to do this, what I'm going to do on the width and the length of the fabric, I'm going to first measure the width. Then after measuring it like this, I'm going to note the midpoint by simply folding my tape into 2. So after folding it into 2, I'm going to note this place as my midpoint. Okay, so you can just mark like 2 of that. So I have 14.5. I'm going to mark it on other points so that I can have a straight line there. Okay, so this is my midpoint. So now I'm going to connect it together to form like a straight line. If you have any other means you can use to get your midpoint, you can do that. So after doing this, now I'm going to measure the length as well and get the midpoint. So from here, I'm going to measure and then simply fold again, just like I did. So here now, this is going to be my midpoint here. So you can also make that into a straight line as well. So I'm just going to eyeball it and then I'm going to mark my straight line. I hope you can see this chalk very well. I'll try to get a greater chalk. So I have this blue chalk. I'm just going to use it to redraw the lines so that we can see it better. So we're going to be using spiral method for this. So we have done spiral method severally on the channel. So basically what you need to do is to decide the length that you want for your flounce. So but first I'm going to measure 1 inch all round, okay, at this center point here where it intercepts this part. I'm measuring 1 inch on those 4 lines. This is just to make it easier. If you can just draw your circle, you can go ahead. So after measuring 1 inch, I'm going to connect it to form a circle. Okay, so now that I have this circle, I'm going to know the midpoints of any of the four square that I have here. So the midpoints of here, and then I'm going to know the midpoint of the second one as well. So after this, now I'm going to mark the length that I want. So for me, I want it to be around 4 inches long. That's my flounce. That's the length I want for my flounce. So here I'm marking it. So what I'm going to do now is to connect from this the midpoint of this first one to meet the 4 inches that I have here. So you can use a curve for this or you can use your free hand. So once you get a curve there, I'm going to continue. I'm just trying to get something nice. So after getting your curve, from there you continue measuring the 4 inches that you want to use as your length. So now I'm measuring 4 inches and then I'll keep connecting it. So I'll measure another 4 inches here, another one here, and that is how you keep measuring till you fill up all of the space that you have there. So this is another 4 inches. You measure another one and then you keep connecting them like that. So you can see how simple it is. So I'll go ahead now and do all of this off camera, and then I'll bring it back to show us how we're going to cut it. So now I'm basically, you can see that I've filled the first line. So now the next 4 inches is going to stop anywhere your first line is, your next line stops. So you can see now that I'm not measuring my 4 inches from here, I'm measuring it from this line now. Okay, so it's just as simple as that. Okay, so I have mark this all around. Now you can see, and they are all for 4 inches. The next thing now is to cut it up. But before cutting it out, this is an organza fabric, and you can see that it is in 4 layers, so I don't want it to shift when I'm cutting. So I just went ahead and pinned them all around here, so that after cutting it I'll still have them pinned together, because it will not be so easy if you have cut it out. So now this is where my line stops. Okay, this is where I was not able to get 4 inches again. You can see that the next one is this part, and I can't get 4 inches, so now it stops here. So I'm going to start cutting from where it stops. So now you just cut all around following the chalk marking that you already have there. So you have to be careful and fast with this, because the chalk that I marked on this organza is cleaning off. So you can just look for something that will just stay for you, depending the time that you start cutting your organza. So now I'm just cutting around following the chalk that I marked there. So I'm cutting off all of the excesses first. Okay, now you can see now that this is where we started. Now all of these are excesses. You can see not all of them are up to 4 inches, so you can see how it is. So you are going to cut off your excesses first, then now you know that everything that you have left is your flounce, because they are all in 4 inches. So you can see it. All of this now is my flounce. So again, I'm going to start cutting the actual flounce now, following that blue chalk that I marked. So when you cut it, this is what it looks like. So you can see. So now I'll keep cutting it till I cut to the small circle that we have here. So I'm just cutting around it. So I'm cutting it now, and then I'm almost at the end point. So you just keep cutting around till you get to the last point, which is here. So now I'm just going to close up my cutting here. So this is what my flounce looks like. You can see that they are still together because of my pin. So now the next thing now is to sew them to form that bouncy ruffles that we see. Okay, so now this is what the flounce looks like. But before we go forward, remember this is an organza fabric and it frays a lot. So you can see, let me just pull it out now. You will see that, you can see that it's already coming off. So to avoid this now, you can either serge it, but what I do is just that I burn it on the edges. So when you're burning it, you be very careful, because it's very light. You don't allow it to stay too long on the fire. You just dab it around it like this. So I have my candle here. I'm just going to take wherever I want it to, just so you can see, just use it to rub it a bit, and then you continue like that. So it's going to seal the edges. So you can see now that the edges is no longer coming off. It's going to seal the edges for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this for all of them like that, and you make sure that it's not so close so that it doesn't turn your fabric to black. You know it has soot. So you can see, so this is what I'm saying, you don't want it to turn it to black like this. So you just use it, or you can also use lighter, but I don't want lighter to burn me. That's why I prefer to have something that is stable, that I can just control easily like that. So after burning all of them, I'm going to take my, you can actually sew this directly on your fabric, but I'm just going to have this fabric as my base, like my foundation fabric, and I'm going to be creating the ruffles on this fabric. So I'm going to take one of my flounce like this, and then I'll go ahead and pleat it. So I'm going to be having like half an inch or 0.75 inches interval between each of my ruffles. So now the ruffles is going to be sewn like this. Okay, I'm going to place it here and then sew. Then I'm going to pleat it. Okay, I'm going to pleat it and sew, so that by the time I finish sewing, it's going to fall like this. So I'll go ahead and sew the first layer. I'll bring it back to show us before I sew the next one. So I've gone ahead to pleat it. You can see I just pleated it, and then by the time you flip it like this, you can see how lovely and bouncy it is looking. So what I'm going to do now is to measure like half an inch or 0.75 inches interval, and then I'm going to pick the next ruffle. Okay, so the same way I've sewn this, I'm going to go ahead and pleat the next ruffle as well. So the second layer is sewn now, and you can see what it is looking like. You can see how beautiful this is coming out. So like I said, you can either leave it to lie this way, and then the outer, remember the first one is the next one is going to cover up the rough edges of the first one that you have. You can leave it and then keep piling them like this to come this way, or you can just flip it over in such a way that you use your main ruffle to cover up all of this edge that you have. So if you are flipping it over, you can just top stitch on it for it to relax, okay, because it's not going to just relax on its own. You can just go ahead now and top stitch on it so that it can stay like this for you, and then this is also going to fold over the next one. But you can also leave it like this, like I said. Then the last layer here, you can just go ahead and then serge it so that it can be neatly finished. So now I'll go over to my sewing machine and fill up all of this space now and bring it back to show us what it looks like. Okay, so I just want to show a little bit of the sewing process so you can see. So what you just need to do is to pleat like this, depending on the size of the pleat that you want, and then you sew on it. So after sewing it, you go ahead and pleat the next one and then sew. You can also gather it if that is what you want. So you just need to keep pleating like this so that you can have this bouncy effect that you have here. So you pleat, let me put this down, you pleat like this, and then you sew on it. Okay, so this is what it looks like after filling it up. So you can make it as full as you want. This is just 4 layers. You can make yours wider than this. It can be any size that you want. You can be fuller. Imagine if it's 8 layers, that would be like 2 of this. You can see how full this is looking. It's going to be fuller than what we have here. So it's totally up to you and what you want. So I'm just going to go ahead now and take this to the mannequin so that we can see what it looks like. So we are on the mannequin now, and you can just place this anyhow you want. So you can place it on your chest line like this, and then you have it as a ruffle on the chest line. It can also come from the chest line and then goes to the side, so you have it just like this. It can also be in form of an asymmetric neckline, then you have it in this shape. And like I said, if you also want it to be fuller, you can just extend it. So I'm just going to double this so that we can see what that effect is going to give us. So when it's fuller, this is what it's going to look like. You can see how full and beautiful this is looking. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.